Hello, and welcome to Birch Creek Farm. My name's John Linford, and I'm trying to build a garden here in eastern Idaho, an English garden, if you can believe it. I've loved English gardens all my life, and I want to build one here where I live. You haven't missed anything because this is the first episode. Today I'm going to show you around the place in its virgin quality. We're going to make some seed starting compost, and I'm going to plant some seeds. Nothing outside, it's too cold, it would freeze. But we'll plant some tomatoes under the grow light and some flowers, and we'll get started. So come on, let me show you around. We call this the cat barn. It's not really a barn, but we call it the cat barn anyway. And we do have real cats in here. When we first moved in, we had mice all over the place. Mice in the house, mice in the barn, mice all over the property. It had lay fallow for several months and mice had just moved in. So we got these cats. I got them as little kittens. They were so cute, but they grew up very fast and they are really champion mousers now. We don't have any problem with mice. Now let me take you over here and I'll take you on a tour of the place. There are 3/3. We put a deer fence around the entire property, or almost the entire property, and it forms a long rectangle. And today we're going to divide those rectangles into 3 so that you can understand what, how this is laid out. So follow me this way. So this third of the garden is the center third, and we call it the prairie garden. We call it the prairie garden because it's going to be full, when it's all planted, of grasses and prairie plants like from the American Great Plains, like echinacea and black-eyed Susans. You'll see that it's framed over here by the cat barn with a wood shed next to it. Next to it is the potting shed, which we'll use later in this episode. And over here are the greenhouses. We've got 2 little greenhouses and room for a big long one, which is currently waiting assembly in the barn. So we will have that big long one this summer. Behind the greenhouses is nice space for a vegetable garden. We've got a number of raised beds there, plus room for other things, like we'll plant our dahlias in that area. Over here in front of the barn, we're also going to plant some corn in the prairie tradition and some pumpkins. So this will be a very lively part of our garden. So this is the southern third of our garden. This is what we call the woodland garden. You can see that we planted an oak tree. All around it and all around the entire property are these tall blue spruce. They act as a windbreak, so we're really grateful to have inherited them. But inside this property, we've planted lots of smaller trees. They're small now, they'll be big. They'll be big kind of eastern woodland trees. We've got oaks, we've got maples, we've got sycamores, we've got birches, we've got a big weeping willow over an area that we're going to call the hidden garden. Out in the field we've got bulbs planted, and we'll plant a lot more as we go along. We're also going to have what we're calling a fern walk along the back here, and that fern walk will be filled with ferns and other shady plants to entertain us. I paused there for a minute because I just noticed that our first tulip is up here, right over here in this corner here. So we're glad to see that. Now this is the north part of our garden, the northern third, and we call this the Rose Labyrinth. It's directly in back of our house. As you come out the back door of our house, you go through this arbor, which of course will have roses on it, and then there will be paths, and each section of this part will have roses and their companion plants planted in it. But there will also be a gravel path that will form a shape, and I'm going to try to outline that shape for you right now. You go through here, and you come over here and you come to the center of the rose garden, and there will be a big circle with Gertrude Jekyll roses in it. We're naming it after Gertrude Jekyll. We're making it that center there. And then coming off of that center part, there'll be 4 Lutyens benches named after Edwin Lutyens, who was Gertrude Jekyll's partner. We'll talk more about that on another episode. But coming off of that circle, there'll be big buds like a flower petal. And each of those flower petals will face north, south, east, and well, never mind, north, south, east, and west. And they'll make gardens in themselves. And then between the petals, there'll be a kind of a rounded square that'll go all the way around them, which will make more sections, 1 between each of the petals, so that's 8. And then in this little area here, there'll be 4 more sections, so there will be 13 little sections altogether, each of which will have its own rose and companion plants to those roses. Plus there will be little surprising things about it, and we'll talk about that as we build it. I don't want to overpromise. It's going to be beautiful though. So this is one of the most English parts of our English garden, or at least it will be when it's grown along. This is what we're calling the long border. Gertrude Jekyll was one of the founders of the long border, and she was a great English gardener of the early 20th century. And since then, most people who want to match her mettle try to create a long border. We've got a very long border, the entire length of our property. See down there past those trees down there that are out across the way, and then you see a tree out there in the little bit there. That's going to be the length of our long border. We've already got some asters planted here. We're going to plant this part of the long border to be really good with the fall planting, and then in the middle with the summer planting, and then in the far side with the spring planting. And we've already planted that. So come on, let's take a look at it. So this is the northern end of our long border. We already did a lot of planting in this last year. It was a beautiful border. We put some of our dahlias in here. We've got roses. We got a lot of our perennials back from our old house, dug them up and put them in here. We've planted alliums, and you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, but I'll point at them anyway. These are alliums. They're like wild garlic, and they come up and have big, beautiful purple heads on them. They'll be scattered throughout this whole area. This part of the long border stretches over to the swing. Can you see the swing, or am I standing in the way? There you see the swing now. And then over to the corner there. This is my potting shed. We put it up last summer, or at least my wife and my son Thomas did, while I was putting the deer fence up around the perimeter. But today we're going to make some seed starting compost. We make it ourselves out of some basic ingredients. First of all, I'm going to put on a mask. I know this will be bad memories for many of you, but you don't want to breathe this stuff in here. We're going to start with some perlite. 1 gallon of perlite. This is that white snowflakey stuff that you see in potted plants. Then we're going to get 2 gallons of peat. Now the only thing about peat is that peat is very acidic, which is probably not the right thing for the things we're going to plant today. So you have to put just a little bit of lime in. Maybe, just a tablespoon or so. And then we've got a scoop of compost. We'll put that in there. And then a couple of scoops of vermiculite. Vermiculite is a rock like perlite that's been baked and prepared. And then we get in and start mixing it all up. You mix it all up until it's nice and even. And see, that's very light. That will not smother the seeds. The seeds won't drown. Okay, we're going to take one of these seed starting trays and we're going to put it in here. We'll get our scoop and we'll scoop in the seed starting mix. Behold the valley of the Guanji. Right out here by these west-facing windows, we're going to plant our seeds. I have here some snapdragons, Madam Butterfly, and Topper hybrid, both from Birch, and also from Birch, some Verbena bonariensis. Now, Verbena bonariensis, in a warmer climate, can be a perennial, but here we have to grow it as an annual, and we have to start early with it, or otherwise it won't make it through our season. To get these tiny little seeds in the earth, you need very slim little fingers like these. When my gardening requires little dainty fingers, I get my wife Evelyn to help. She's got the little fingers and she does the little dainty work. Now she's going to take the seeds out of the packet, empty them into her hand, and then sprinkle them like fairy dust into the soil. There she goes. See, she's going slowly and carefully. The great gardener, Christopher Lloyd, always said that he had his mother do this for him. My mother doesn't live with me here, so I use my wife instead. He had big fingers like sausages, just like I do too. Well, this is the best part of gardening, sitting down and enjoying your work. Now, we've done a lot of work here, although it doesn't show it because we're just coming out of winter. Nothing much is growing. It looks kind of bleak and destitute here, but it'll perk up in the summertime, and it'll even perk up more as the years go by. We're going to make an English garden here. We hope you'll stay with us and watch it happen as the years go by. And maybe even someday you'll be able to come out and see your garden. We'd love to have you at some point. One time, well, I should tell you first that I'm an opera singer, or at least I used to be. I don't do much of that anymore. I'm getting past my prime. But I was one time driving with my wife to a rehearsal for Verdi's Requiem. And if you don't know what a requiem is, it's a mass for the dead. And there's this part of it that talks about the last trumpet, tuba mirum spargens sonum. And Verdi was one of these, this is one of his last works. He was incredibly creative. Instead of just one trumpet, well, it starts with one trumpet, pa, ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba, 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 and then it adds more brass. The trombones come in, the French horns, the tubas, and it's just rolling. And the chorus comes in, tuba mirum spargens sonum. And my wife said to me, Evelyn said to me, "Oh, you need to be brave to be a great composer." And I think that's true of all artists. You need to be brave. You have to have a vision, and you have to believe, well, hello, you have to believe that vision is worthy. And if it's not worthy of anybody else, at least it's worthy of you. And if other people enjoy it, that's wonderful.